ko ñoom la oo ci bés bi réewi Gambie jóg leen jëri baat ko yaate ànd ak kumaare ban cey lii neex ba dee ci 2014 bi.
Welcome back. The United Nations has started evacuating non-essential staff from South Sudan and airlifting wounded civilians. This as thousands of people seek protection outside the World Body's compound in Bor. China, meanwhile, has urged President Salva Kiir and his former vice president, turned rival, to settle their differences at the negotiating table. Fighting, as we hear in this CFI report, is raging in at least 2 areas.
Non-essential staff and wounded civilians from the town of Bor by helicopter. They are fleeing heavy fighting between loyalists of President Salva Kiir and supporters of former Vice President Riek Machar. They are all being taken to the capital, Juba. The Deputy Special Representative to the Secretary General of the United Nations is in charge of the evacuation operation.
I've just arrived on this chopper with 6 gunshot wounds, 2 serious, and 1 child with suspected meningitis. As I left our base and went to the airport in Bor, there was a lot of looting, a lot of gunshots, a lot of dead bodies.
Thousands of foreign and local civilians have been waiting outside the United Nations base in the town Bor. They're all seeking protection from the UN. They're hoping to leave the town that the rebels have taken. The situation is also very tense in Bentouille, the regional capital of oil-rich Unity State. Bentouille is also under the control of the rebels. The United Nations says that around 5,000 civilians have sought shelter and protection at the camp.
Our resources are stretched very, very tightly, but we are continuing to stand by the people of Unity State. The mission has a collective resolve to remain in South Sudan and will not be intimidated.
China has invested heavily in South Sudan and is watching the situation in the country very closely. Beijing is calling on Salva Kiir and his rival Riek Machar to settle their differences through national dialogue. China's call comes as the United States is considering taking new measures to ensure the security of American citizens in South Sudan.
Opposition groups say that hundreds of people in Syria have been killed after weeks of deadly air raids on the city of Aleppo. Speaking to CNN, doctors in Aleppo say there has been a massacre and hospitals are struggling to cope. Helicopters have been dropping drums filled with explosives. The Syrian news agency reports that the government says it's been targeting rebel-held areas, but the opposition groups say the air raids are killing civilians. Now they have fled the conflict to neighboring countries, but now Syrians living in refugee camps are enduring a harsh Middle East winter. Many Syrian children don't have warm clothes, some don't even have shoes to wear. As CNN's Awa Damon reports, this struggle has inspired a Lebanese woman to donate thousands of pairs of winter boots.
With no shoes in the bitter winter cold and mud that Hala Kublawi, a designer and mother of 3, couldn't get out of her mind for the last year. So she decided to do something about it, just as Lebanon was hit by a heavy storm.
You know, everybody's angry at the government, everybody's angry at the silence of everyone. Everybody was thinking of the refugees. And seeing that anger, and I myself worried and angry, I launched it.
It worked. Hala, a Lebanese of Palestinian descent, raised her target of 2,000 winter boots in the first 24 hours, ending up with thousands more and counting. Amid the eagerly awaiting crowd, we're swarmed by a group of friends. 9-year-old Amina, proud of her skill.
She's going to show me how she can write her name in English.
But her neighbor Suzanne, 5, is pretty quiet. The older children tell us Suzanne's father was killed by a sniper, one brother in jail, and another wounded. We go to see where Suzanne lives.
The girls were just saying that it wasn't too long ago that the mud was so deep here it was up to their knees. That was right around when Lebanon was going through one of its coldest spells in history.
Her sisters show us the cardboard they shoved into the makeshift. Without a father, it's her burden to help make ends meet. And yes, they miss him desperately. As we chat, their mother arrives, weary. Her heart so broken, she seems numb to it all. My eldest, her husband died recently too. They had 3 kids, she tells us. But on this day, as Hala says one of her friends described it, perhaps something of a Cinderella moment for the children.
It's true. And seeing the happiness on the children's faces with dignity, they were all so proud and so dignified.
Organizing the distribution is a non-profit, Sawa for Syria, founded by 25-year-old Ruba Mhaisin, a Lebanese-Syrian PhD candidate who 2 years ago was in London, came back for a visit, and couldn't leave.
The number of refugees has reached a ceiling of 2 million refugees in Lebanon, with a complete chaos in NGOs, a complete lack of institutional coordination. So grassroots organizations like us and many other initiatives are taking the lead to try and do something, but still the need is very, very huge.
Sawa for Syria distributes aid and helps manage the camps scattered haphazardly throughout Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, relying on volunteers to get the work done and the kindness of strangers across the globe. For Hala, the support she got for her small project was overwhelming.
It's like really realizing that there is still humanity, you know, on Earth, especially in this part of the world.
A little bit of help in a world that continues to be only too cruel to these children. Arwa Damon, CNN, Bekaa Valley, Lebanon.
It's now time for the weather report from the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton, just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Hello viewers and welcome to weather forecast. For today it has been cool and windy in the morning and sunny and warm in the afternoon. For tonight it will be partly cloudy, cool and slightly hazy over the whole country. This condition is expected to persist until tomorrow in the morning with occasional breezy conditions over the coastal areas, then becoming sunny and warm in the afternoon across the country. The wind flow will be northeasterly over the entire country and the speed will range from 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be 18 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul area, 17 over West Coast and the lower river regions, as the rest will record 15 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperatures will be 30 degrees Celsius over Greater Banjul area, 31 over North Bank region, as the rest will record 32 degrees Celsius, except over Upper River region, which will record 33 degrees Celsius. Low tides will be 0.5 meter at 8:11 in the morning and a 0.6 meter at 8:12 in the evening. High tides of 1.6 meters at 3 minutes past 1 in the morning and 1.3 meters at 1:27 in the afternoon. The sun will rise at 7:23 in the morning and will set at 18:40 in the evening. That does it for the forecast today. Thank you for joining us and do have a very pleasant moment.
And before we take leave of you, a quick reminder of the day's top stories. Gambia Standards Bureau recently held a deliberative session with